Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, the Delhi police cracked down on the protesters during the protest on Monday and has subsequent days as well has sparked a big debate. Now, did the Delhi police and the RAF use excessive force to curb the protesters? Well, the protesters claim so. However, there's video after video that's now doing the rounds on social media. At times now, while it cannot vouch for the authenticity of the videos that we're going to show you, but what is displayed in these videos are certain security personnel using what appear to be pellet guns. We reiterate again, we are not vouching for the authenticity of these videos. However, the protesters and even some political parties in the opposition are now claiming that the opposition are now claiming that the police used these pellet guns to curb the protesters. Remember that pellet guns cause serious injuries, can even lead to permanent vision loss if the pellet strikes the eye. And this is why the alleged use of pellet guns becomes a matter of concern. Here's what the Congress party has said so far. Let's take a look at these statements that have come in. The use of pellet guns is the height of brutality. Fix political and administrative accountability. As this is what Manish Tiwari, Member of Parliament of the Congress party, is saying. There is also, of course, a statement from the UP Congress. They say that security forces allegedly used pellet guns. Videos show the use of pump action guns. There is a risk of permanent vision loss with these guns. This is what the UP Congress has said on social media platform X. However, the Delhi police has denied the use of pellet guns as well. We've also seen further the Press Information Bureau, which has responded to the posts on social media. They are referring to the alleged use of pellet guns. Here's what the PIB fact check as well says. The PIB fact check has specifically said, and let's quickly bring that up on the screen. The PIB fact check refers to the pellet guns itself. They have, of course, called this news incorrect. They have come out to say that this is fake. They say that, and this is, of course, in response to the post of Saurav Das of the CJP, where he has alleged that there's alarming Guddaism by the Delhi police using pellet guns. Fake claims are circulating that Delhi police used pellet guns against protesters. That's the statement that is coming in from the Press Information Bureau. However, Times now has spoken to one such alleged victim, somebody who's currently hospitalized, and he maintains that pellet guns were used on protesters and he himself has suffered multiple injuries. Listen in to this exclusive interaction.
These are questions which have been raised that whether the pellet guns were used or not. I'm joined with one of the victims in this case. We are not going to show his face, obviously, because his privacy is very important. But let me show you the kind of injuries which has been there. These are the small wounds which has happened because of the pellets which have been used, and the kind of scary thing which has been there is very alarming. Times Now is the only channel which has managed to, but we are certainly respecting the privacy of the victim in this case. He's a professional, he's a young professional who had gone there to be in support of the student. Let me once again show you. There have been hand injuries also. And,
no, there's no hand injury.
No hand injury. But the kind of pellet wounds, if you allow me, have been there, is under question, where the authorities have been asking that is this a pellet gun or not. But when you reached here, I'm not going to show your face. When you reached, what was the kind of shape of okay, fair enough. So certainly we are respecting this privacy, but on visual we have shown that what is the kind of injury which has been there.
Let me take this across to my colleague Priyank, who's joining us. Priyank, you met the individual. From the shape of the injuries, from the nature of the injuries, it does appear that pellet guns have been used. And there are certain videos that are also circulating, which shows that in the Connaught Place area, the pellet guns were allegedly used. Now, there is no official statement from the CRPF. They are, of course, denying it, but they are certainly there are serious claims and now political charges about whether pellet guns were used. What did the victim share with you? Priyank, if you can hear me, after you spoke to the victim, what did he say to you?
Madhav, he strongly feels that the gun which was used by the RPF personnel was having a triangular shape in the front, because what he claimed that he confronted the police personnel and then the RPF opened fire on him.
All right, we'll try and connect with Priyank in just a moment, because let's get you the next bit of breaking updates. We've spoken to top sources in the government, and they are telling us off record that the guns in the video do appear to be pump action guns, And these are the same guns which are used to fire pellets. Sources have also said that these guns are used by the CRPF. They have been used in Jammu and Kashmir predominantly, and such strikes can be fatal if they are struck from a very close range. Let me go across to my colleague Mayank for more on this. Mayank, you've spoken to top sources in the government, and they are indicating that yes, these videos do display what appears to be a pellet gun, and that location appears to be outside a prominent restaurant in the Connaught Place outer circle area. Mayank.
Absolutely right. And the kind of the gun which has been shown, it has been really confirmed by multiple sources actually, saying that it is the kind of the gun which is generally used in Jammu and Kashmir, which is area of operation of anti-terrorist and counter-terrorist operations. So what you see is actually, and as you have already brought out, and which is significant point is actually, it is used to control the crowd and to disperse the crowd actually in such a case wherein it could become dangerous for the people. But having said that, that is the kind of information we have really got from multiple sources, saying that the gun which is displayed and the gun which is seen by a soldier in RAF uniform firing it is actually the pump action gun which is used to fire pellets on the people.
All right, ma'am, stay with us.
Madhav,
let me quickly get in a word from Priyank as well. Priyank, you were telling us what the victim told you. What were the circumstances? What was the location? And why does he believe it's a pellet gun? Over to you, Priyank.
Madhav, the victim in this particular case to whom we met is an account manager in a multinational firm, and what he claims that while he was going back home after the protest, there were armed personals from the uniform who stopped him, and then he told them not to open fire while he was very politely going back towards the metro station. Suddenly, one of the men in uniform opened the gun, and while interacting with me, he was describing that the barrel of the gun was having a triangular shape, which is generally in the case of pellet gun. These pump guns, which Mike is also talking about, result to multiple sharp nails or small balls, ball bearings, which is being spread through the gun, which spread in a particular area. And if you look at the kind of injury which has been there on the body of these victims, it's certainly showing that the multiple small balls could have hit them, which were taken out during the operation.
Okay, and it would be quite different if it was indeed rubber bullets or a regular gun that fires normal bullets was used. So certainly, of course, a lot of concerns being expressed over there. Priyank as well as Mayank, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us. But there's some more breaking news coming in. The Press Club of India has condemned the attacks on reporters during the protests that have taken place in the national capital. The statement reads, and I quote, the Press Club of India condemns recent attacks and violence against journalists who are covering the youth protests in New Delhi. Several such cases have been widely reported by now, with violence coming both from those who gathered in and around the protest site, the police and security forces. Some journalists have said that they were not spared even after showing their press IDs. This seriously undermines press freedom and journalists' ability to do their jobs in a safe environment. All right, more breaking coming in from the same statement. In fact, we've seen how the Press Club of India has also gone on to add that the alleged use of pellet guns has been condemned by the Press Club. Their statement reads, and I quote, we have also seen with particular concern Outlook magazine's report that one of their journalists was fired upon by a weapon resembling a pellet gun and has severely injured his arm. At least 3 other such incidents of pellet-like injuries have been reported. Since Delhi police has denied use of such weapons, other forces must clarify whether they use such weapons and be answerable. Bhavtosh, this is very significant, because pellet guns have never been used in the past in the national capital.
Yes, Madhav. In fact, Delhi police has come on record not once but twice in past 3 days in which they have completely denied the use of pellet gun. They have said that their personnel did not use the pellet gun. The question is who did use. There are in fact visual representation of RAF personnel using them. And our colleague Priyank has in fact spoken to one of the victims, and he has said that while he was crossing through that area near Pin Baluchi, he was in fact encountered men in uniform. Now RAF as well as government has denied this, but the fact remains that at least 3 of them have received injuries which resemble that of pellet injuries. Importantly, one journalist from a weekly magazine, Outlook, has also suffered pellet injuries. The question is whether they were victim of this or whether they came under fire because of RAF personnel who are present there. The CRPF has officially not issued a statement, but inquiry is on, and it could be possible that this matter will be coming up before the Delhi High Court. Delhi High Court yesterday had said that all CCTV footage should be preserved because they would like to go through over 110 video footage, which petitioners have said is excessive force and high-handedness.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Bhavtosh, as well as Mayank, as well as Priyank, for your inputs on the story. Let's quickly open this up to our guest joining us. Siddharth Yadav is spokesperson of the BJP. Arvind Kumar Jain is former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. We have Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer, is joining us as well. Sanjay Sahai, specifically speaking, pellet guns are not something that India has never seen before. But by and large, they've been used in insurgency-prone areas, such as Jammu Kashmir, such as Manipur, and perhaps other areas as well. But the point is, over here, the protest that has taken place in the national capital, was this used is of course a big question, and if so, who used it? Was it the RAF? Because that's what one video seems to suggest. And is that something that is really required in a situation where there is what is a students' protest? Even if lumpen elements have entered, is this the appropriate method of crowd control in your view?
First and foremost, whether it was used or not used. Delhi police says that we have not used and we don't have it in our armory. But Delhi police does not deny whether the RF/CRPF used it or not. So that becomes a very critical question. The next more important part is whether in civil areas, which is primarily out of, say, Manipur, Jammu Kashmir and areas of that nature, whether pellet guns are a part of the regular equipment which is being provided to the RF. Now, the RF will need to clarify whether they were carrying these guns in the first place or they were not carrying it. So that clarity needs to be brought. Once that clarity comes, then I think lots of things will automatically get cleared. Now, you have three nature of evidences which is available here. So one is the medical evidence of the medical forensics. Second is the video forensics. And third is what the human being is telling you himself or herself. I think if all these things are pieced together, we can even reach the model of that particular gun, nature of bullets and nature of injury which has been inflicted to this person. So that will clarify why RF, why CRPF, why the government is not openly saying what weapons have been used. This is a weapon. Why it has been used and for what purpose? It is a non-lethal. It is supposedly a non-lethal, and the nature of injuries which will emanate out of this will be much lesser than any of the lethal weapon.
Okay.
Now you're talking about whether it should be used, should not be used in areas of this nature. I'm of the firm view that it should not be used.
It should not be used.
It should not be used. Because given the situation, I will add one more issue. The way Delhi police and way the establishment is handling this particular protest is like any other protest. This is certainly very, very different. And at every level, we find intelligence failure and the nature of response. Also inclusive of the way the crowd has been allowed to move or not allowed to move and the way it has been engaged. So there are lots of issues from a very professional point of view. Crowd management is a totally different ballgame.
Okay, crowd management is a completely different ballgame. Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Arvind Kumar Jain? Because Mr. Sahai is of the view that it should not have been used. But the mystery at this point of time is that Delhi police has repeatedly said on Twitter that it has not been used. But there is no statement that has come from either the RAF or the CRPF under the aegis of which RAF has been raised. Shouldn't they come out and break the silence? Because there are videos which claim that they have actually done so.
It depends on them whether they come out with a statement or not. But I am of the opinion, the way brickbatting was taking place, the way 118 people of police were injured, and the way people were marching towards parliament, it is better than to fire bullets. If you are using compaction gun is used in law and order situations. It is my experience that it is used, and it is used to control crowd. And I think, if I'm permitted to say, that this crowd was not better than the crowds in Srinagar who used to indulge in stone pelting on army and police forces. This is not the way to behave. You can't allow one section of people in which there are unruly elements, history sheeters, so many people. The students are not indulging in it. But you see the faces. They are being recognized now. They are being traced now. History sheeters have joined. Anti-social elements have joined. Anybody can do anything. Police forces or RAF on duty, they cannot allow people to enter parliament, and they can go to any extent. You don't know what sort of people are there. So if they are using it to stop them, I don't think there is anything wrong in it.
Bhavya,
And,
okay. Bhavya Narsimha
Yep.
Murthy, I see you smiling. Why are you smiling, ma'am? Is it not a serious concern if there are lumpen elements, if they are stone pelting the police? Mr. Jain is of the view that the use of such
Oh
guns
my
is then
God. No.
permitted. Please respond.
I am not smiling. I'm just surprised. I'm just so disappointed with a ex-cop, a DGP of Uttar Pradesh saying that there are anti-social elements. Can you please name one of them, sir? You're saying you're recognizing their faces. They are students, for God's sake. They are youngsters, for God's sake, who are standing with the students. How can you justify use of pellet guns on them? What are you even comparing? Do you realize? And to say that Delhi police did not use or CRPF is not given the statement, I don't care. CRPF, RAF or the Delhi police is headed by the Home Minister. The first day they used the pellet guns, they were supposed to be punished. They were supposed to be told not to do that to the students.
At the instigation of
please,
opposition party.
you don't get away. You don't get away. With
Aap
all
is
respect
taking
for
advantage of
experience,
it.
you don't
Aap is
get to
taking it
get
out
away
and
by
telling-
calling the students as history sheeters.
I have my
Please name one
information
history
channel.
sheeter there. You are
Okay.
saying you
Once
recognize
again.
the faces. Please
Just a
name one
second.
history
Bhavya,
sheeter.
just a second.
How
Just a second. Let's just please. Let's just calm down a minute and just answer my simple question. The concern. Just a second, Bhavya. Just a second. Answer my question. Simple question that is being posed by the police official, and there are two different views that we presented. The simple question I'm asking you is that fine, you don't want to use pellet guns. If there are protesters who are engaging in stone pelting, and nobody is saying that the core students who started this protest, perhaps that their protest or their cause is not justified. But it is a fact that every night we are seeing clashes with the police. Every night we're even seeing police officials being beaten up. Last night, senior police officials, ACP level officials have been beaten up. The point that the police, from the policing perspective, will ask is how do we then control the crowds? Your response, Bhavya.
Have you seen the videos?
Yes, of
Who
course.
are the ones holding lathis? Who are the ones holding lathis? Who are the ones holding pellet guns? What do you have you seen the way the police, even a DCP, literally hitting a woman in her private car using a lathi? Have you seen that?
Of course, that's not right. I'm not questioning that at all. Certainly, there have been certain instances. In fact, let me tell you, ma'am, last night I discussed the fate of one particular official who was seen slapping a person, and that person has now been removed from duty from one particular location. But even stone pelting is not right. Violence by anyone, whether it's by police or by protesters, cannot be justified.
Violence. Police people are there to stop violence, not to do it by themselves. Here, the police people have been unleashed by Amit Shah to stop this protest at any cost.
Siddharth Yadav.
They think they can...
The Home Ministry has to account, says the Congress party. Please respond to Bhavya.
Madhav, I think first of all, to respond to the Congress spokesperson, she asked, can you name one person? I think Hazi Afzal is the name for starters. He's a convicted history sheeter, convicted under Makoka. His wife is a councillor in from Aam Aadmi Party, a convicted Makoka history sheeter participating in the protest. So do not give us or serve us this that everybody who is there are all students and nobody apart from students. The government wishes to engage and will continue to engage with the genuine students and with the genuine demand of those students. But what is happening right now on the name of a student's protest cannot be justified on any count. 117 policemen are also subject to injury and
yes, but Siddharth Yadav, pellet gun use also can't be justified. You know, nobody is saying that the violence of protesters is justified, but never before in the history of independent India have pellet guns been used, and certainly not in the national capital.
Madhav, I'm very sorry. I've not come to the question of pellet guns yet. I'm responding to my learned friend from the Congress party. Let me answer on the pellet guns also. So number one, what I wish to say is 117 policemen are also injured when slogans like Modi ki kabr khudegi, Sansad ka aakhri din hoga, Sansad ko ukhad fekenge, all sort of slogans are being there. I don't think that these are slogans for education reform or slogans by students of our country. This is point number one. Point number two, when it comes down to any excessive use of pellet guns, I think this matter is already taken up by the Honorable High Court of Delhi. Honorable High Court has directed to preserve all CCTV footage if it is there. We can't just be debating on presumptions that whether pellet guns were used or not used. If so used, were they right or wrong? I think this is a matter sub judice now. Until it is confirmed that pellet guns were used or not used, which is now going to be confirmed in the High Court,
the discussion should stay put until then at least. All CCTV has been preserved. The Honorable High Court has given this opinion that we will review each and every action of policemen, but each and every action of all protesters working under the pretext of being students will also be reviewed.
Siddharth, I'm reading out what the Supreme Court had said in the year 2016. This is the then Chief Justice of India was Justice T.S. Thakur. Chief Justice Thakur had very specifically issued notice to Centre in Jammu and Kashmir, and he had questioned that pellet guns should not be used indiscriminately for controlling street protests in Jammu and Kashmir. So my simple point that still stands is that if this is the stand that has been taken by the Supreme Court for a disturbed area, for an area that has, you know, a separatist, etc., and terrorist problem over there, and then, Mr. Jain, the question arises, then how should it be used here in the national capital?
You're asking me?
Yes, Mr. Jain.
It depends on the situation. If situation demands, every person has a different reaction in police force. Every person. You see different people, they will react in different manner in all the situations. So I can't predict who was the person who was firing, under what circumstances did it fire. Mr. Siddharth is correct that it is under scrutiny of High Court. Let them decide whether there was excessive use of force or what he did was during line of duty.
All right. There are some very, very serious questions that come out of this entire action. Of course, the protesters, and if they have turned violent, their actions have to be questioned. If the police has been excessive in its use of force, that certainly cannot go without question. I'm afraid that's all the time we have at the moment. Siddharth Yadav, Arvind Kumar Jain, Bhavya Narasimhamurthy and Sanjay Sai, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Some breaking news coming in. Actor Kareena Kapoor Khan has now put out a statement in support of protesters. Her statement reads, and I quote, "I've sat with this for a few days, but I can't sit with it any longer. The voices of so many young people asking to be heard are impossible to ignore, and they shouldn't be." Let's quickly take this across to my colleague Shreya. Shreya, Kareena Kapoor Khan breaking her silence when it comes to education and what the right kind of atmosphere is required and the confidence that it leaves as far as the student is concerned. Over to you.
Thanks for this, Madhav. So, Kareena Kapoor has a 3 Idiots connection. We all know about it. But fans are actually debating whether the message has come a little too late and what it actually means. Because with Bollywood celebrities, there's often a very peculiar pattern of messaging found. I think in the last 24 hours, more A-listers have come out in support of the student support. But they've largely, used the word courage. They're talking about student courage. They're talking about peaceful protests. They're avoiding or deflecting from demanding accountability. Even Salman Khan brought up the word courage. Ananya Pandey, Sara Ali Khan have been the Gen Z voices, which have also joined the bandwagon. Varun Dhawan has come ahead. So if you see, there are largely 3 waves of Bollywood support that have come. The first was around July 17th and 18th, when initially Kiran Rao, Omi Vedya, Fatima Sana Sheikh, they came up with it. Slowly, then it moved on to Shabana Azmi. And now, finally, all the A-listers are joining the bandwagon. So a lot of mixed reactions pouring in.
All right. So the A-listers joining the bandwagon. Will more voices from Bollywood speak or not? That's something that we have to watch out for. Thanks so much for joining us, Shreya, and breaking that down for our viewers. Slipping into a very quick break. More news and updates on the other side.